Well, hello there, friends. Come on in. Only this time, shut that door tight. It's cold outside, but believe me, the cold we had inside us in '68 cut deeper to the bone. I was looking at the moon and remembering. You want to know how it really was? Not the postcard version? Fine. Listen to old Pop Pop. The year was 1968, and when I say it was hard, I don't mean high bread prices. I mean we could smell the burning, literally. It all started in January, the Tet offensives in Vietnam. They'd been lying to us, telling us we were winning the war, that victory was just around the corner. And then suddenly, 80,000 Viet Cong attacked over 100 cities at once. They even breached the U.S. Embassy grounds in Saigon. We watched this on TV every night. It was the first living room war. We saw bodies of soldiers. We saw an officer shoot a prisoner in the head right there on the street, live. The illusion of safety shattered. We realized we aren't in control of anything. Then came spring, and it brought the blood home. April, Memphis, a bullet finds Martin Luther King Jr., and America exploded. These weren't just protests, son. It was open war in the streets. Riots broke out in 110 cities. In Washington, D.C., the smoke from the fires was so thick it obscured the Capitol. President Johnson had to call in 13,000 troops just to protect the White House from its own people. Machine guns on the steps of the Capitol. Can you imagine that? Before we could catch our breath, in June, they killed Bobby Kennedy. He was the hope of the youth. He had just won the primary, and there he was, lying on the kitchen floor of the Ambassador Hotel in a pool of blood. It felt like anyone trying to save this country was doomed to die. And then there was August, Chicago, the Democratic National Convention. It was supposed to be a celebration of democracy, but it turned into a slaughterhouse. Police beating students with billy clubs, cracking skulls, launching tear gas right into the crowd in front of the cameras. Protesters were chanting, "The whole world is watching, the whole world is watching." And the world was watching. Watching the leader of the free world beat its own children. Add to that the fear of nuclear war. In August, Soviet tanks crushed the Prague Spring in Czechoslovakia. We sat and waited. Who pushes the button first? By December, we were emotionally bankrupt. The country was torn in half. Parents hated their kids for the long hair and protest. Kids hated their parents for the war. We were on the verge of a nervous breakdown. And then NASA says, "We're sending 3 guys to the moon." It was insanity. You have to understand the context. The Apollo program hadn't even recovered from the fire in 1967, when 3 astronauts, Grissom, White, and Chaffee, burned alive right on the launch pad. And now they wanted to put men on a Saturn V, a rocket that had never carried a crew before. During previous unmanned tests, that rocket vibrated so badly, the pogo effect, it could have turned an astronaut's brain into jelly. Engines failed. But the CIA reported the Russians are preparing a manned flyby. It was a race not for life, but to the death. NASA cut 2 test flights from the schedule and went all in. The Apollo 8 spacecraft had no lunar module. If the engine failed in lunar orbit, they would stay there forever. They'd die of suffocation when the oxygen ran out. They had no lifeboat. And the scariest part, the engine burned to get home, had to happen on the dark side of the moon, where there is no contact with Earth. December 24th, 1968, we all knew it. We knew about the war, the assassinations, the tanks, and we knew these could become just another tragedy in this cursed year. It happened on December 25th, on Christmas Day itself. The most dangerous moment of the mission was behind them, entering lunar orbit. But there was one more critical moment: TEI, trans-Earth injection. They had to fire the main engine again to break free from the moon's gravity and head for home. As I said before, this was happening on the far side of the moon. There was no radio contact. In Houston, Mission Control, dead silence reigned. If the engine didn't fire, the astronauts would be stranded in orbit forever. If it burned too long, they would crash into the moon or drift off into open space. Everyone waited for the signal. Minutes dragged on like hours. And then, when the signal was reacquired, Jim Lovell came on the line. He had to report that the engine had performed perfectly, and he said this legendary phrase, "Please be informed there is a Santa Claus." It was a code. It was a way of saying, "We got the best gift. The engine worked. We are coming home." Ken Mattingly, who was on comms in Houston, replied, "That's affirmative. You are the best ones to know." And what they did next, reading Genesis. "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth." They read the first 10 verses of the book of Genesis. I'm telling you, friends, sitting in that living room, you could hear a pin drop. Even my old man, who was a tough nut to crack, had tears in his eyes. For a few minutes, nobody was a Democrat or a Republican. Nobody was fighting. We were just earthlings, listening to a message of creation from the void. It wasn't just reading the Bible. It was a reminder that the world isn't just made of Vietnam mud and Chicago blood. When they showed us the earth, small, blue, lonely, we suddenly saw that we were fighting inside a burning house, flying through the void. When they signed off, Frank Borman said, "Good night, good luck, a Merry Christmas, and God bless all of you on the good earth." A few days later, after they splashed down safely, someone sent a telegram to NASA. It didn't say "great job" or "nice rocket." It simply said, "Thank you, Apollo 8. You saved 1968. And they did. They gave us hope when the tank was empty. It's a powerful reminder for us tonight. No matter how dark the year has been, no matter how divided things seem, a change of perspective can heal a lot of wounds. Sometimes you have to go to the moon to realize how beautiful the earth really is. All right, wipe those eyes. Let's see if you were paying attention to the details. It's time for Brain Prime. Question 1. Can you name the 3 astronauts on the Apollo 8 mission? Question 2. What famous book did they read from during the live broadcast? And question 3. What was the nickname of the famous photo they took of our planet? Think you got 'em? Let's check. First, the heroes were Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders. Second, they read from the book of Genesis. And third, that beautiful picture is called Earthrise. If you got those, you're sharp as a tack. If not, well, you learned something amazing today. My friends, as you celebrate this season, look up at the moon tonight. Give it a wink. It's seen some history. Keep your hearts light. Keep your mind sharp. I'm Pop, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Merry Christmas.